Hi, 'tis I, Mystical McKay. Hi, welcome. It is Tarot Tuesday. I'm so excited now. Like every day of the week, I'm so excited to just have something fun that I love to do and share with you guys. So this is Tarot Tuesday, where on one day of the week, we pull a tarot card and an angel card to give us an overall insight into what this week will look like, what kind of challenges or what kind of exciting things might present themselves in this next upcoming week, as well as things to be mindful of as far as our shadows and the things that need some conscious attention in order for us to live our best lives. Cool? So I'm going to tune into Twitch right now and manage my channel through my phone, and then we can get started. I will show you guys what the cards are for today. Hello, thank you for being in here with me. Hi John. Thank you guys. So it is Tuesday. The card, I pulled these on Sunday, and they're very, very, very interesting to me. Honestly, I think this is probably one of the most fascinating readings that we've done so far. We've only done 3, so there's only so much you can do. But our tarot card this week is the 4 of Wands. Can you see it? Reversed. The 4 of Wands reversed. Every single card we've gotten so far is reversed. And our angel card is the 5 of Raphael. I have a plane driving, flying by if you can hear it. So you can't really see it too well. So I pulled the angel card to give us a little bit more clarity on what, because each tarot card has so much symbolism in it, not just so much the illustrations of it, but the actual what it could mean for you. There's like 5 different things that it could be. So pulling another card, it could be another tarot card or an angel card, gives you a little bit more confirmation on what exactly this card is trying to tell you. So first, let's get into our beautiful tarot card for today. The card itself, 4 of Wands, even upright, has the number of 4, which we know because there are 4 wands, and 4 is always going to represent stability. Kind of like, think about like a coffee table or something with, it's got 4 legs, so that there's basically no chance of it just randomly deciding to fall over on one side, because there are 4 legs. And it is in the sign of Aries, which is a fire sign, and the wands also represent fire, which is everything to do with our passions and the things that, how we choose to take action, inspired action, especially the way we carry the things that we love doing, if that makes any sense. It's probably my favorite suit because I'm a fire sign. So it's all about just like the things that spark passion in your heart. That's what the wands are all about, and taking inspired action through that, kind of building something, your creative projects, or something that, it's something that I can't even conceive words right now. So it's a fire sign, Aries, and Aries are kind of known for they're the first sign of the zodiac, and so they have a little bit of naiveness to them in a certain sense, which always represents that there's some growth to be done. Even in this card, whether it's upright or reversed, it's kind of a card of transition and change. The party doesn't last forever. Eventually there's the after party, and then the party's over. And so it's a transitional space of being okay, yes, we can sit here and we can celebrate for a little while, but there's more work to be done. You have much to learn, grasshopper type of vibe to it. That's what I got from that. Other than that, Aries is ruled by the planet of Mars, so that's also the planet that rules this card. Yeah. So let's get into the lovely symbolism that goes into the images of this card. I'm having such a hard time getting it to focus. There we go. Okay, so if you look, the first thing in front of them, in front of anybody, is these 4 wands that you see. And they're like crystal-tipped wands. And right above them, you can see this kind of like greenish shrubbery that kind of dangles on top of the wands, kind of letting you know, in a way, subconsciously almost, in a sense, that this is a celebration going on. Someone has deliberately put those up, and, you know, they're like blossoming with all these flowers and grapes, and it's total like celebratory vibes, right? And in between the wands, you can see 2 people. They're not really completely underneath the wands, actually. There are a few ways like back from it, if you can see. And these 2 people, assuming that they're a man and a woman in kind of like a wedding ceremony, and they've got flowers, bouquets of flowers in their hands, and you could just tell that they're rejoicing in love together, love and connection together, and they're dancing. Beautiful. It's a beautiful card. And you could just, it's a family card too. It's all about these 2 people and the 4. And with the 4 of Wands too, it's like we have this dream together and we have the stable foundation in order to make it a reality. That's the vibe of this, when it's upright at least. And behind them is a very fancy castle, kind of letting you know that these people might be a little well endowed in abundance. And I don't know if you can see it really. It's so hard to see from the camera, but right here, you can tell that there's extended family members kind of partying, dancing further away from them, doing their own thing. And honestly, I don't really think there's very much else to the symbolism in the card. Obviously, like red, fire. And the blue in I'm assuming that that's the woman. The woman is wearing the blue tarp, I think, is kind of like, you know, like the yin and yang of the 2 opposing contrasting colors. Awesome. Cool. Right? So by all means, this card, when it's upright, it means family, celebrations, having a sturdy, happy home to come home to, and feeling like supported and like you don't have to worry about anything because you got people, you have your community of people who got your back always. And you guys can sit here in celebration of that love and prosperity and joy and happiness. That's not quite what it means when it's reversed. It can. It could just mean the exact same thing, except you're not having a very like public, you know, like shouting it out to the world and like a total social thing of being like, hey, we did this, everyone come and watch and dance with us. It could be a little bit more, it could mean the exact same thing, honestly, or it could just be a little bit different as to, I want to celebrate this, but I kind of don't want to make a big deal about it. You know, like I don't want a big party. I don't really think it's worth like the hype. I just want to have this moment to myself. You might not even tell other people about what's going on. You could just have like your own little silent, you know, milestone. And that's a big thing about this card, is that these people are reaching a certain milestone in their lives. A certain point, it could be like a graduation. It could be marriage. It could be getting a promotion, like anything. It could be literally anything. But when it's reversed, more likely than not, and that's why we always pull another card to get more clarification on what exactly it's trying to tell us. Because more likely than not, it usually is a little bit more than just wanting to have your own, personal quiet celebration. It could be that. If that's that, then then that's completely okay too. You can just have your own little quiet thing. But for the most part, the key words for this card when it's in reversed are unhappy families, conflict, being in a transitional period that can be really uncomfortable in either your family dynamic or your friend groups or your work life. It could just be like a very uncomfortable, really waiting for it to just be over so that you don't have to worry about the conflict anymore. You're like, I don't know what this person's going through, if they're going through a phase or whatever, but I can't wait for this to be over type of energy to that. Another thing, obviously, if this card upright is all about having celebrations, ceremonies, things like that, if it's in reversed, it could potentially mean that all of these wonderful celebrations are being canceled, delayed, postponed, or you're not like hearing anything back from anybody as far as like, are we going to the party or not? Energy to it. So another thing when it comes in reversed is feeling like you don't really fit in with your community. You might have different passions, since it's in the wands, that lie outside of your family or your friend groups. You can kind of feel like you can't really relate to them or connect to them on a certain level because you guys have such different ways of thinking and ways of expressing the things that you enjoy, that it might be hard for them, your family, even to recognize and appreciate your natural talents and gifts. They might not even see that it's something valuable because they themselves don't possess that same skill, or they think that, they just have different ideas as to what's important and what brings value in a family dynamic, what brings the bread type of stuff like that. So it can be, it just feels like you might not be in a very supportive environment. Therefore, you can't feel safe to be yourself, and you can't feel the sense of security that comes in the upright Four of Wands when you know that you have this awesome group of people who love you no matter what, will do everything in your best interest and take your best interest in their mind instead of not being nice. So, along with that is, and I feel like this might be leaning more towards what I've been experiencing, at least personally in myself this week so far, is feeling senses of just your own insecurity and instability and a lot of self-doubt. Feeling like sometimes I just gotta look at the card and just be like, so big celebrations. When you have self-doubt and when you feel insecure about something or yourself, the image that comes into my mind is this person who is working on something really fantastic, and they've kind of been hyping it up a lot, being like, this is going to be amazing, you guys. And then they get to, like the first step where everything's, somewhat coming together, and it's not really looking exactly like what they hoped it would. There's a lot of things that they thought they would have done a lot better on, and, they could do a lot of improvement, but it's just there. You did it, it's there. Now you just do what you can with that. And so when you get the Four of Wands reversed, it's this feeling of, I did this, I can't undo it, I'm not very proud of it. So I kind of want to instead just like take it and almost hide it and put it somewhere so like nobody sees it. Because nobody needs to see that shit. type of, that's the kind of energy that I got when I saw this card. Honestly, myself is the exact opposite of feeling joyous and like this is something to openly, dance about and smile and celebrate. Instead it's like this, okay, I don't feel too great about this. Is there a way that I can just like sweep it under the rug so that nobody ever talks about it? So funny. So yeah, I feel like personally for me, I can only speak for myself, but I feel like that's something that definitely I need to work on in myself. And I think because of the angel card that we got alongside that as somewhat of confirmation as to that's what the whole week is focused on. But if you resonate with any of the other meanings behind this card, then obviously that one's for you. In a more shadow aspect of this card, it could mean that you have a extremely dysfunctional, toxic living environment with the people you share space with. Yikes. Okay, so you could be having a lot of communication issues with people, like people refuse to communicate at all. They just want to do their thing and they don't care how much it messes with you and your overall well-being. They just kind of bulldoze you and you can't relax in that environment ever. You have this overall sense of just uncertainty about everything around you because you know that the people around you don't have your best interest in mind. And so it's just like this uncomfortable feeling of like, okay, I have to have my own back all the time, or else if I let my guard down, someone is going to take something super important to me. Ugh. Sick, right? Oh my goodness, I can't even. It sounds sick. Is there any uncertainty surrounding the people that you trust? So it's a really good time to sit down and be like, okay, when in the past have people in my life proven to me that they do truly deserve my trust? And you'll usually know the people who don't right away. This is a very transitional period to keep in mind. So if you're having just like a random, like difficult, just it seems like everything in your family dynamic or your friend dynamic, your relationship dynamic is just like falling apart all of a sudden this week, if you start experiencing that, know that most likely it's not like a permanent thing that's gonna just start causing havoc in your life. It's more so you guys are both, or one of you individually is going through some kind of shift and they're just trying to get through it. So that can offer a little bit of comfort to people who are just like, okay, all this crazy stuff has just started going on and I have no clue what's going on. It's not a permanent thing, which I found was very positive. This card can indicate a lack of security. You might have on and off relationships. Back and forth, you get together, then you break up. Having job changes, having to relocate jobs, or having to just, go through the whole process of like applying for something and waiting to get an interview. The whole thing about that, having to do that over and over and over again, feeling like you can't find just one thing that'll stick with you. Feeling like you have to move frequently. Going from house to house and house, completely like renting things all the time and just being like, all right, it's time for me to find a new place to live. Nah. Some transitions are very uncomfortable, but they're very necessary for growth. Change is a constant thing. And even though this, like when I first looked at this, I was like, it's strange that they mention change a lot when it's not a 5, because I know that the number 5 is associated with transitions and change, but it's the number right before that. And it's a card of like stability and digging your feet into the ground and making sure that, like whatever happens, you're not going to fall down from the wind, which is a perfect card to have before a huge transition though, because then you know that you're unshakable. Awesome. Cool. All right, so I have these little notes. Just gonna kind of give you guys a extensive reading on what it means for your love life, your career life, your spiritual life, your health, all of that. So if you're doing a specific love reading and you get this card out of all cards, it's a good time to ask yourself whether or not this is something that you've always kind of, depends on what you're doing the reading for, obviously. Is it an issue that's going on? And if it's something that you've been experiencing in your relationship since day one, it's not the best card to get. But if you're just like, all of a sudden things seem to be going haywire and you don't know why, and you pull this card, I feel like that's a little bit of confirmation to let you know that this is a transitional thing. It's not going to be forever, unless you feel like this is a behavior that has been going on forever. It's not the best omen. It could be a representation of just not having a very happy family life. Feeling like a failure. Instability and feeling like the other person neglects you, or they might feel like you're neglecting them. My heart, I just can only imagine what that feels like. This could point towards canceled or postponed celebrations like weddings, proms, I don't know. Divided family disputes and arguments. Feeling like you are never seen, heard, or felt by the people you love most. Lack of social life. Self-doubting and believing that you are worthy of someone's love. And not fitting in. Maybe not really jiving too well with your friends and their new friends, or your partner's new friends, or your family's new friends. I could go on. In your career, it could be feeling like you have a very non-supportive work environment. You might have clashing personalities between you and a coworker or a boss, so you guys just cannot seem to even just enjoy each other's presence when you're just sitting there in silence. You just can't even stand the energy. Obviously, this was a funny one that I looked up. There might be an indication, if you did this reading for your career, keep this in mind. Because apparently there is a indication that there might be a office work party incident. Be mindful of not making a fool of yourself, getting too drunk or too goofed up at some kind of work party. Don't Shrek yourself. And remembering to be professional. Don't do embarrassing acts, and you might be struggling to pay family expenses, since that's in your career life, that can come up. In health, it could mean that you kind of have some shaky, poor health conditions this week. There might be hospitalizations, needing in-home care, needing assistance from families due to illness, an injury, or a recovering procedure, which if you don't have a very happy or family-oriented dynamic going on, being in the care of someone who doesn't have your best interest sounds quite scary. So if that is the case, do your best to try to find an environment that supports you, even if that means that you have to move out for a little bit and be with your friends for a little while, or another family member, someone who you know is going to at least be a little bit more supportive in your healing. All right, I need to be present and to smell the roses too. With this card in reverse, it can kind of be like, because when it's upright, it's about celebrating, being here right now, enjoy together. So when it's reversed, it can mean that you're not even really in the present moment very much. You're too busy maybe thinking about the next project in mind, when you need to give yourself a little bit of time to actually be like, look how far I've come. Look how much, I know there's still a lot of stuff that I need to accomplish, but can I just take this moment to really relish in the present moment and where I am right now in my journey towards my passions, right? And in spirituality, it can mean canceled spiritual ceremonies, having a lack of community, not agreeing or fitting in with spiritual groups, struggling to feel support and acceptance from your own personal beliefs. I didn't hear too much about that when I was researching this card, but I feel like that's could be something that somebody could very much like be going through right now. Having a I keep getting so much information in my head. So I wanted to mention this too. There is, when it's reversed, there can be a sign of, since it's an uncomfortable transition, there could be a kid like moving out of a house. There can be a lot of turmoil going on through that, whether or not a family member wants them to leave, or it's the energy of that. And when I read that, it was kind of like struggling to feel support and acceptance for your own beliefs. You've grown into the person that you are, and you might have just found out that you've grown into somebody that your friends or immediate family don't, for some reason, accept or can understand why exactly you turned out the way you did, you know? And so there can be a sense, especially since it's in your spirituality, you guys have conflicting religious views. Some people take their religion so seriously, and if you were to come up to, your parent and be like, yo, I want to be a Muslim, I don't know, they'd be like, the hell you're not, get out of my house, So there could be something going on like that, or maybe you're moving out because you can't tolerate their unacceptance of you anymore, which is an uncomfortable thing, but a very natural, usually, and necessary process. So that's that in spirituality, and I don't know if there's really anything else about this card in general. Let me scope it. I don't think so. So we had this card reversed. Little recap can be as simple as you just accomplishing something and not really feeling like you really need to make that much of a big party about it. Or it could mean that you're having a little bit of insecurities about yourself, a little timid to show some of your recent projects with others. It could mean that you have a very toxic family dynamic and life and situation and environment, which prevents you from experiencing the joys of life. It could mean that you're just going through somewhat of a difficult transition in life that's not going to be forever, and it's necessary to go through that hardship to learn some things about yourself and maybe come out even stronger with your family and friend groups and your partner or your animal, whatever. So yeah, very interesting card for this week. I have to say personally, it's a little weird, the health part, when it said a family member might need help due to an injury or procedure. This morning, my mother got surgery done on her toe. So I thought that was a little strange. Anyway, our angel card for this week is the Five of Raphael, and these cards always let us know what kind of things we need to focus on the most in the tarot card reading. That's why I love them. Raphael is the angel of healing, and look how cool this card. I love this girl, by the way. She's wearing a green dress. I wore green today because it was Raphael. And Raphael is coming up behind her a little creepily. He kind of looks like Tommy Wiseau. And there's a chandelier up here. It's kind of the same thing. Like, it looks like the interior of this. It looks like the inside of a castle, and she's a princess. And so the Five of Raphael says, everything happens for a reason. Release regret and embrace the opportunities for happiness. Search for silver lining. So when I read that, I had this moment where I was like, okay, for this week, maybe, in a sense, we're going through it might be more of a sign that we're just going through a very transformative experience, and it's not going to be forever. It happens for a reason, but now is a very important time to let go of the past hurts that maybe other people have casted upon you. Really release them and forgive and do whatever you feel like you need to do in order to make up for maybe being neglectful, or realizing that you weren't the best parent at certain times, or you weren't the best sibling or child. Coming to terms with that and just being like, okay, I have power of this present moment right now, so I can make the shifts. It might be very uncomfortable because it's not what you're used to. You're used to just being toxic, you know? It's fun when you do it so often. It's just like second nature, right? So if you try to switch the gears and you're kind of like, okay, what if I approach this with compassion instead? It can be super like, ugh. But then once you get out of it, it's like so worth it. So a little bit more about Five of Raphael. You may currently be focused on a loss, but when this card is drawn, there's something positive waiting for you. Things may not have turned out the way that you have expected. Four of Wands reversed, having something that you really, really cared about not really turn out the way you wanted it to. Now is the time to trust that the universe has something better that is in store for you. Regret simply does not serve you now. Embrace change as the guiding hand of your angels are sending you into a completely new direction with your long-term happiness in mind. Additional meaning of this card is tenderness towards others, a change in focus, and the wisdom to reach out to loved ones. Seriously? Is there any other card that would work better for that? The wisdom to reach out to loved ones. I love how it doesn't even really say like the bravery or the courage to reach out to loved ones. It says the wisdom. And wisdom is something that can only be experienced when you have had a lot of experience, you know? That's literally what like wisdom. It's having a lot of things to back up from, you know? And that kind of wisdom only really comes from a space of being very, very present and not being an illusion too. Seeing everything for what it really is. So I love that they mentioned that they use that word, the wisdom to reach out to a loved one. It takes a lot of inner knowing that it's time and it's right, and you just gotta do it. And tenderness towards others. I don't know. I feel like this is just like a beautiful card to follow up with this, because when I first pulled this card, I was like a little all over the place, because I was like, what does this mean? Like, I myself don't really have too many issues regarding any of my family too much myself. Thank goodness. God bless, right? But, and so then when I pulled that, I was like, and then this, when I got this, I was just like, oh, God bless you. Because it clarified everything for me. So for me personally, I feel like these cards together are reminding me this week that it might be a very uncomfortable transitional period. There's a lot of things shifting inside of you as far as like my own perceptions about the world and myself and the people around me. So with that, it's a time to release the things that fall on your shoulders when you don't release things and you just hold a lot of regret, you hold a lot of pain and shame and guilt and insecurities, you have all of these things on you that are literally like taking you down. And this transitional moment is your sign. It's like, you gotta fucking let this shit go or else it's gonna kill you. You gotta release it and listen to that voice in your head that is telling you that it's time to charge through the transitional period. That might be a little bit uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, if you make the right choice, you'll end up much happier in an environment of people who really do love and support you and want your best interest. And when you're in a space like that continuously, and that is a place that you call home, that is when you can do anything. You literally feel like you can do anything when you have an amazing support system and a group of people who are always there for you whenever you need something done, and you know that you're the same way for them because you truly love them. No matter what. Awesome, right? And you can have that. You just gotta notice when these transitional periods are super, super uncomfortable and make the change that needs to be made in order to rekindle relationships or keep your alignment with maybe just one specific person or a whole community of people. Yeah, super cool. So I love these cards together. It's really, really beautiful. Honestly, love it. So that is the end of my messy description of these cards. I'm going to now read the list of songs that either popped into my head or were playing on my song list that kind of had the vibe of the Four of Wands reversed. I noticed a lot of relationship songs came up. Yeah, so I'll read them off. And if there's a specific song that reaches out to you as I word the song, I want you to go look it up and listen to it. And listen to the lyrics, listen to the everything. Dissect it and see if it really, really, really resonates with you or not. Or you can just go onto my YouTube channel and click the playlist that I'm going to make after this video, titled the Four of Wands Reversed theme song. I think that's what I'll call it. And you can listen to all the songs. Yeah? Cool. So these are the songs. Four of Wands Reversed theme songs. Family Portrait by Pink. Stuck in a Moment by Wtih. Back at Your Door, Maroon 5. Roll to Me by Del Amitri. Amitri? Yeah. Wasting My Time by Default. Wild One by Faith Hill. 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad by Meatloaf. Complicated by Avril Lavigne. I Don't Wanna Wait by Paula Cole. Walk Away Joe by Trisha Yearwood. She Talks to Angels by the Black Crowes. Blue Moon by Frankie Avalon. Tainted Love by Soft Cell. Reunion by Collective Soul. Holding Back the Years by Simply Red. And Avalon by Roxy Music. Interesting. Cool. So if any of those songs specifically piqued your interest, go look them up. The lyrics and everything. Maybe the music video. See if it resonates. Or you could just check out my playlist that I'll have on my YouTube video. Cool. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a little bit all over the place. I didn't know how I felt about this card, honestly, and I've only had 2 days to really learn about it. But now that I've gone through it and kind of figured out the significance between the two of these together, I actually really, really like this reading a whole lot. Very, very good. So just something to keep in mind. We're going through probably a transitional phase this week. Whatever that may be, it might be a change in your family dynamics or your friend groups, or your partner just might be acting a little different this week. Just a good thing to keep in mind that nothing lasts forever. And you could be having some celebration issues. You could be having some issues with things just not working out, having some collaboration problems with people. And, it might just be a little bit of a frustrating feeling like, oh my gosh, can this be over already? And the answer is yes, if you take the appropriate actions and you stay grounded in yourself, so that when you do find a community of people, you have that to offer, Just something to keep in mind throughout this week. And think about your family. Think about everyone individually in your family, and maybe give yourself a moment to ponder, in what ways can I express to them and show them how much I really do appreciate them and love them, and I am so blessed to have them in my life. If you can do that, maybe you can. Maybe you've never done it before, and it might be a little awkward and gross, but do it. Do it. See where it takes you. All right, guys. That was the tarot of the week. I hope you got something out of this. I don't know if you did. I was a little all over the place today, so my deepest apologies, but it happens sometimes. I'm looking forward to next week's tarot card, whatever that may be. I'm going to be doing free tarot readings for followers later tonight. So if you'd like to tune in and get your own reading, then follow me and we can do that. All right? Love you guys. Thank you. Hope you got something out of this. I don't know if you did or not, but let me know if you did. If you didn't, then just shut up. All right. Goodbye. Love you. Have a good rest of your day.